to hear there from Crim6 from OpTic Gaming, and a much better result for them. Second time round against Mindfreak, of course, it doesn't go the distance. They managed to close it out 3-1. But OpTic Gaming looking very, very good now, it's fair to say.
Yeah, I think obviously for these guys, and you've seen in the VTs as well, Formal kind of stating that this is the time that they can, you know, really start to get in their groove. It's the Pro League, they get the best practice here. And, you know, necessarily, you know, should this be practice? Absolutely not. But you are going to be playing every single day against different teams across the world, and those are going to be going to Atlanta. You're going to have events here, there, and everywhere. So this is the time to be getting good. And consistency is the key. And I will say, credit to Mindfreak, they are pushing OpTic Gaming, but I do think, especially in some of the respawns here, we did see OpTic Gaming just step it up a gear, and maybe, you know, a 60 to 90 second kind of section during the map, and it really does just kind of show which is the better team. Definitely
seemed to be the case. Of course, map 1, St. Marie Edumont Hardpoint. Mindfreak kicked it off pretty well. It was back and forth action, Joe, but ultimately it was OpTic Gaming that came out on top.
Yeah, it definitely was. Formal had an incredible game number 1. I was a little bit worried, though, going into the vetoes. I mean, Mindfreak, I feel like they get sort of the 2 hardpoint maps they want. You know, that second week that they played TK and OpTic, it was on St. Marie. They were playing so well on that one. Fortunately for them, OpTic, they just looked so strong. And then London Dash hardpoint was also that other one where we saw sort of glimpses of brilliance from Mindfreak, but OpTic do a great job. Again, a great game on a Formal, really from all 4 players, just really stepping it up, and they win game 1.
You know, fantastic result from them. 250 to 151, the final score, and there's a quick look at the box score as well. Big thing that really stands out is that first hill, of course, 102 to 30 points, really where Mindfreak just weren't able to bring themselves back, but Formal had an absolutely fantastic game, a 1.82 KD from him there, really leading the way for the green wall. But then, of course, we go over to map 2, and it was almost weird to say, but a little bit backwards from what I thought. If Mindfreak were going to take it to a game 5, I personally was of the belief, all right, well, maybe they take map 1, OpTic Gaming probably win a search and destroy, etc. But it was almost backwards for what I was expecting, Phil. I'm not sure. Did you expect Mindfreak to win London Dock Search?
Not necessarily. I wouldn't have taken Mindfreak in any of the games if I was being completely honest, and that's no discredit to Mindfreak. I just think OpTic Gaming are the better team. But judging by their week 1 and week 2, their hardpoint was where they stood out. They started 100-point club in Echo Fox and OpTic Gaming. It was like, okay, you know, what have they eaten for breakfast? I don't know. But today, OpTic Gaming came out. They win map 1. They get that confidence. They get that ball rolling. And Search and Destroy, I actually thought that this would go the same way. Surprisingly, of course, again, Mindfreak push them, and Streaks obviously coming in for Fighter, a vital part.
Absolutely crucial part, I think it's fair to say, as you see the Streaks being used there, and a big old explosion comes through. But Mindfreak, of course, in the second part of the game, or second part of the map, I should say, Joe, definitely looked like they really just took it by the scruff of the neck, if you will, and had full control.
Yeah, they definitely did. You know, they closed out the game, they win those last 2 rounds. A great game out of Shocks. Crim6 played huge for OpTic Gaming, but I'm a little bit worried now if I'm OpTic, right? Like, you know, when you talk about some of the top 4 teams, you know, when you play TK, when you play Red, when you play Rise, you have to be able to win Search and Destroy, because honestly, their hardpoint the past couple of matches hasn't looked at its peak, right? So, you know, if you're OpTic, you really have to sort of step up your Search and Destroy game, because against those other top 3 teams, top 4 teams, you have to be able to compete in that search. And I mean, yes, it was a close game. I feel like Mindfreak, this is their most comfortable Search and Destroy. They've played it a good amount, basically every single match they've competed in so far in Stage 1. But I'm still a little worried, because this was, as they said, this was still a struggling game type, and they continue to do that here.
Very true. Of course, at this point, series tied 1-1. We then head over to game 3, capture the flag, Phil. And again, it was a bit back and forth, really, to start, but ultimately OpTic Gaming pull away.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching this CTF as well, because, like you said, it was back and forth, and there were moments from both teams. OpTic Gaming kind of strike first, and again, that's where I think, you know, Mindfreak could be very vulnerable. Any team can be vulnerable if OpTic Gaming do kind of get that initial flag. Love the way they bounce back, and I love as well how they tie this series up. If you watch the clock, it's literally down to the last second here, as Busso kindly levels the score up. Obviously going into the second side as well. We've already, I think myself and Joe actually casted the Forest was the previous series. It was, you know, a really drawn out series. It can go the distance. It can go overtime, extra time, and in some sense, obviously like a replay as well. But OpTic Gaming, in their classic sense, you know, clutching up as they do. We see Crim6 putting in the second one, and this is where as well they can dictate the pace of the game. They can slow things down, you know, play for streaks. They don't obviously capitalize and, you know, put this to bed in like a 3-1, 4-1, which we've seen on things like Flak Tower. But OpTic Gaming obviously securing the win, and a much-needed win going into, you know, map 4, and again, respawn dominance.
Yeah, definitely it was. I mean, Crim6 there, he really made the sort of game-saving play, I guess you could say. You know, he has that flag run. Sometimes what some players will do, they'll get a little bit nervous. You know, one or two of their players go down, they slow down, but he just guns it. You know, he goes as fast as he can through that ice tunnel. That allows him to get under that bridge and really get into safety. But there was a minute there you thought he was going to get chased. Some players may turn around there, try to win an extra gunfight. Crim just says no, and he goes for it. So a great decision for him, which ultimately leads to OpTic's win.
OpTic Gaming 2-1 up. We then head over to map 4. It's a London Docks hardpoint. And again, Phil, this was pretty close. Towards the end, I was thinking, okay, hold on a minute, maybe Mindfreak can make this comeback.
Yeah, Jack, I mean, both the casters obviously getting very hyped. Obviously, when we see Mindfreak showing moments of brilliance, especially it was down at the docks, but also going into beer as well. And, you know, again, pushing OpTic Gaming, which when was, you know, the last time in the, you know, the past 2-3 years when we can consistently say teams like Mindfreak, who in the past have just been kind of swept under the carpet when teams like OpTic Gaming, but this is a team which is holding their own. They're pushing OpTic Gaming to the limits, but this was the moment that I was talking about where Shox kind of went crazy in beer, and you can see reflectively in the scoreline. But it just kind of, like you said, sometimes OpTic Gaming, it gets out of hand. That ball kind of starts to roll, and Mindfreak, they put up a great fight. A great fight is not what you want. That doesn't kind of give you a point on the board, of course, but OpTic Gaming closing out. And if you look at the breakdown here, 4 out of the 5 dominated by OpTic Gaming. Close, yes, but in total, you're going to see a 60-point lead-ish for OpTic.
Yeah, and I feel like there was a couple of hills, especially on that top street hill, where Mindfreak, they get the early rotations. You know, they get set up, but they just allow OpTic to break in just a little too easily. Again, Crim had another big performance. I really felt like he's been super comfortable right now. He's putting up some great stats alongside Formal. So, again, as Crim said, tomorrow they play a TK team where, you know, TK's been going to some Game 5s, expected, but right now, OpTic, like, they're not destroying anybody, you know? They're having a lot of close matches with teams you think they should comfortably beat. So I'm excited for that one tomorrow.
Is that a game where you think OpTic has to win it before Game 5? They have to win it in 3 or 4?
No, I don't think so. I mean, yes, their search has been struggling, but they can come up in the big moments. These guys are champions, right? So I still expect their search and destroy to be competitive. It's just it hasn't been as great as we've seen it in the past.
Right. Well, congratulations to OpTic Gaming, the 3-1 victory there